Jill, one of the fun facts that you gave me as we were speaking before was that you really like zombie movies. Will you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the one thing probably no one would guess about me is I'm a huge fan of zombie movies. I'm kind of a connoisseur. I have my favorites from every genre, from the smart political zombie movie to the romantic comedy to the end of the world big blockbuster. I've just, for whatever reason, I find it extremely stress relieving to watch end of the world apocalyptic zombie movies. Yeah, not something you would ever guess about me. Well, I moved here when I was 19, absolutely fell in love with the state and fell in love with my husband. We've raised our kids here. It's definitely become my forever home. And I have a background in small business. Actually worked as the regional manager for ADP. We did payroll and human resources for small businesses. And that's really where I tapped into the heart of our community and meeting the job creators and the mom and pop shops and the entrepreneurs, and just fell in love with our community in that way. And then went on to get my master's degree. I've been teaching at the University of Nevada, Reno and TMCC for the last 13 years, and more recently in the last 5 years joined the faculty of the National Judicial College, where I teach judges courtroom management and collaborative decision making for appellate court judges and state Supreme Court justices. And I try and bring all those communication skills here into this building. Conflict resolution, listening, small group problem solving, arguing our points with the facts and good sound reasoning, evidence, and articulation. So that's my background that hopefully I bring into this building that will help this process. I definitely want to keep Nevada. I've been in this building for a number of sessions before I was even elected to office. I was an advocate for education and the economy and child abuse prevention. And one of the things that I love about the Nevada legislature is that it's so accessible to the citizens. The citizens' voice matters here. I think that's incredibly important that we maintain that focus, that the reason that we're here is to represent the people. We have 3 million people in the state, 63 representatives who come together with diverse voices to represent all different parts of our state, viewpoints, beliefs, backgrounds, priorities, and I want to see us do this well because I think that the people deserve that. And one of the things that I've loved about Nevada is that we've been able to sit down, talk things through, work together for the good of the people that we serve, and I hope that we continue that this session. Well, I, in a million years, never thought I would be in politics. I am not a political junkie. I'm still not a political junkie. But there was that aha moment when I realized that policy impacts people's lives, and that if I saw things that I wanted to see changed, then I needed to use my voice to be a part of that conversation. And so one thing led to another. It started with advocating for education in this state as a mother at the time of 2 elementary school daughters, to working on a task force for child sexual abuse prevention, something near and dear to my heart, where in 2015, as a citizen, I was actually able to help author and support a bill that eventually passed unanimously in both houses to put child abuse prevention programs across the state in schools to teach every child that they have a right to be safe, and if they're not, who to go to for help. And after 2015, seeing firsthand that citizens do have a voice in this building, and that it is, in spite of all the negative that we hear about politics today, that it is still possible to do good things here that changes people's lives, I decided to run for office and served my first session in 2017, passed 2/3 of my bills unanimously, and back in 2019 I hope for another successful session.
But you had a specific situation with a senator that I'd like you to share with us. Would you mind sharing just a little piece of the story?
Sure. So I served on a task force for child sexual abuse prevention. It's a tough topic, and like I said, one that's near and dear to my heart personally. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys before the age of 18 are estimated by the CDC to be sexually abused. And yet it's something that we don't talk about enough. And after 8 months of studying this issue, coming up with 22 recommendations for the governor and the legislature, we were able to secure a bill sponsor at the very last minute. Senator Hardy, just 5 minutes to the deadline, took on this cause. And as we were walking out the door from LCB after getting a BDR secured to put child abuse prevention programs in schools, he turned to me and he said, you know, people ask me all the time, why do I do this? Why do I put up with the hassle and the headache and all the hard work of public office? And he said, it's for moments like this. And then he paraphrased out of the book of Matthew. He said, the Father has his eye on the sparrows. And these are the little sparrows that have fallen to the wayside. And we need to keep our eyes on them, and we need to help them back up. And so after the bill lived and died and then resurrected again 3 times at least throughout those 120-day session, we were able to again pass it through both houses unanimously. And when it passed, I went out and got these little buttons made with a sparrow on them that said, his eye is on the sparrow, and I gave it to Senator Hardy as a thank you. And he and I both teared up and gave it to all the others who supported the bill all the way through the process. And it was a proud moment that, again, you can do good in this building. In spite of all the bad news that it gets, we are able to do some good things.
What are your thoughts on your team? You have a pretty strong, pretty diverse team. I would love to have you just give an overall of what you think is going to happen with this caucus team that you have together.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about democracy and representative government is that we all come in representing our districts. And the state of Nevada has, I almost like to say, it has 3 different time zones. You've got Clark County that is very urban and this metropolis, and it has needs and growing pains and issues of its own. And then you have Washoe County, where I represent, that is just a good mixture of a little bit of urban, a little bit of suburban, and some rural. And so I get all 3 of those time zones mixed into my county and my region. And then you've got rural Nevada that is just this amazing gem of who we are as a state and something that's so precious to hold on to. And we all come together in this mix in this 120 days. And we advocate giving our best to speak on behalf of our different districts. And every voice is valuable. And I hear a lot of times we talk about there's 2 Nevadas, there's North and South, and even though I don't directly represent a rural district, I'm an outdoors girl. I love to fish, I love to hike, I love to get out in big, broad, open spaces with big sky, and I am going to continue to say it's really important we remember every single district, every single region in this state needs to have a voice and be heard when we look at every law that we impact the lives of these 3 million citizens across our state. So what I love about our team is how we come together and we have those conversations, quote unquote, as family first, and work out hearing each other and making sure that we're finding ways to support each other as we flesh out the different bills. And then as much as we possibly can, unify our voices as we speak in the legislature for the values that we hold dear, values that are true to our conservative hearts, like limited government and fiscal responsibility and government accountability and supporting the small business owner who's working so hard for their family and their communities, and making sure that we improve our education system and that we have choices for students based on where they're at, and making sure that we have sensible solutions to healthcare, caring for our most vulnerable, and that we're keeping our public safe.
Thank you.